I'm excited to be invited to collaborate on a program that's going to offer so much depth and space. And there's space for assimilation. So why did you choose, Delara, to run the course over 2 years? Like, I know there are some courses where people are like, oh, come and join me in, Bali or some exotic locale for a month. Why did you decide to do the format of?
I don't want to take value away from whoever's offering a 1 month intensive of training. I think it's lovely. Whoever can go and has the money to go and immerse themselves in intense 1 month study, even though the human body will only retain 30%. Everything we're in class, an average person only retains 30%. So if we're in an 8-hour class every day for a month, there are less chances of us integrating all the precious knowledge that was passed on to us, because we can't help it. We get tired. 6 days a week, 8 hours a day in class is a lot of time. I've done 3 trainings like that myself, and I know how exhausting it is, and I've done it at a very young age. And as a dancer who knew how to concentrate and be online like all the time, even then it's quite hard. Even when I was very physically able and had a lot of energy, there's still value in there, but to call it, teacher training and then send people off in the society with that crash course, and these people will be dealing with other human beings and bodies and system, it is dangerous. Having the training is wonderful, but does it really prepare skilled teachers? That I could argue that not really. It doesn't prepare skilled teachers. I think a lot is being shared, and actually in 1 month, that's usually like a 200-hour teacher training, and there's not time to share much about each subject. So usually the yoga philosophy is just like 10 hours of something about yamas, niyamas, and the 8 limbs of Ashtanga yoga, few sutras, few of the power sutras, a little bit about Bhagavad Gita, who's Krishna, who's Arjuna, and anatomy is memorizing the names of bones and joints and different types of joints and ligaments, and going a little bit over knee problems, but it's just very, very basic, the minimum knowledge. It's not preparing anyone to go out there and face all these different types of bodies and ages and gender, women going through premenopause, menopause, old age, young athlete. So I prepared this 2-year education. First of all, it's 300 hours, so we have plenty of time to really go quite deep into yoga philosophy. So we just have 100 hours dedicated to the sutras, the Gita, Sankhya. Yeah, what else are we going to do?
You also asked me to talk about mythology as well.
You'll talk about that part, so
Yeah.
I'll let you do it. Mythology. And even that, it's like just the beginning. People who do the 100 hours be like, whoa, this is the vast ocean. And that was just a little échantillon. And so we'll be doing 74 hours of studying the human body. And by studying the human body, I don't mean this is called clavicle, and then we have 7 vertebrae usually in the cervical spine. It's way beyond that. It's how we perceive space outside and inside, how that changes the way we move, the way we breathe, how the way the human being coordinates, the quality of movement. How to, first of all, recognize our own resources and limitations, how to expand in parts that are tense or timid, or less grounded, less expressive. And when we have time to really explore that within ourselves, then it becomes easier and possible for us to recognize and see things in other bodies. And then, well, once you recognize, how are you going to help that person? And one equation doesn't apply to every human being. So some people need touch, some people need verbal cues, some people need imagery. So we're going to discover all these different ways of, okay, how can I transmit this incredible thing I embodied within myself to others who have different capabilities? And these things, that it cannot be done in a crash course, because for us to explore within ourselves, to recognize our own patterns, really understand how we're moving, breathing, thinking, these are things that cannot be fast forwarded. These are things that cannot be done in an intensive course. It needs months and years, but at least in 2 years, it gives the practitioner a chance to really start embodying what we're teaching within themselves, before they try and go help others and wanting to share it with others. Because the world of movement is not theory. Theory is just like a few percentage of it. A mover has to really master something and embody it within oneself before trying to transmit it to others. And these are things that cannot be done in an intensive way. You can memorize things in an intensive way, but you have not even, we need time to chew on it, digest it, assimilate it, then share it with others.
Yes.
Or else it's just lying on a superficial layer and talking about theories and ideas.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I can just come in here, Delara, but it's like when I was studying Sanskrit, one time I was teaching overseas, and one of the people who came to one of my classes was a professor at a Western university teaching Sanskrit. And my colleague who had invited me, he said very nice things to me at the end of the presentation. He said, "Oh, you are everything she said you were and more." And he was very complimentary. But he said, "You know, James, the problem I have is I cannot teach Sanskrit. I can only teach about Sanskrit. Because in the Western Academy, the constrictions of the system are such, there's no space to actually go into the material. When I was studying Sanskrit in India, you know, all my teachers who had a traditional education, the basic foundation training was 25 years. So this thing of having time to install it into the fiber of your being. So my teachers, one of my teachers, he's now deceased, but when I was studying with him and his son in my first years in studying in Mysore, one time I go to their house and I was studying Bhagavad Gita and with the son. And one evening I arrive at the house and the son, Alwa, opens the door. He says, "Today, father will take the class." And so I go into his father's room where he receives people, and he asks me, what have you been doing? "Oh, Bhagavad Gita." "How many verses have you done?" "Oh, we're doing chapter 2. We've done the first 8 verses. Recite them." And so then I recite them. And for the next 90 minutes, he was 75 years old at the time, Lakshmi, this great teacher. He recited call and response. We did those 8 verses. And then he said to me, "It's good you are studying Bhagavad Gita, but you must study it Indian style. You must install it into the fiber of your being so you can give the book away because the book is already in you." And he said, "And when you write a book, you must write a yoga book." This, with the Bhagavad Gita in his hand, this is a yoga book. It was true thousands of years ago. It's true now. You will be able to write that when you write from your own experience that you've cooked, baked, tested over seasons of your life. And so I'm really appreciative of the fact that built into this program is this assimilation time. When I used to teach at school and university, and what I would always try to do in all my classes to the best of my capacity was present the material in such a way that it appeals to different learning styles and learning intelligences. So some people, we need to embody and actively learn. Other people need it to be, we need to understand the pragmatic application. Some people really benefit from that theoretical structure. Other people need space and time to reflect. And then, as you were saying, some people need touch. Some people, they need to hear things. Music can be helpful for some people. Quiet for other people. We have different learning intelligences. How can I harness them all? And to me, that is yogic learning. Yoga meaning bringing everything together. And to bring everything together in new ways. Our old ways have got so much inertia. They've got the force of habit behind them. And when we know we want to make a change, yes, I'm going to do it differently. But when we're tired, when things are difficult, the inertia of the old ways can take over. So just as you suggested, we could go on an intensive and learn lots of great material. But then if we've not had time to digest it and assimilate it, we're not really giving it as much chance to really start to influence and impact the way that we communicate with ourselves and with others day to day. So,
Yeah.
As I
That's
know,
a very important point.
yeah,
That's a very important point, that if you want to bring change, undo old habits, you need time. If you want to rush things, because the body goes into survival mode, because it has to just give output immediately, it will immediately fall into old patterns and what it already knows. So it has no chance to implement new perspective, new way of moving, new way of coordinating, new way of thinking and imagining.
Yeah.
So that's a very nice point you brought up.
Yeah, and I mean it's based on hard earned and experience, and I'm for me, I did my yoga teacher training 2003 to 4, but it's ongoing. I've been doing my yoga teacher training for the last 20 plus years. It's like it's a constant practice.
Yeah.
And as I know, like the definition of yoga practice is long-term, unbroken, wholehearted, dedicated effort. Then it becomes well-grounded and it can grow.
Yeah.
And so I feel over 2 years, and a year cycle is already a great opportunity to really learn and see something. But 2 year cycle, this is a lovely opportunity to gain a foundation. And when I did my Sanskrit master's degree in India, my Indian teacher said, what this does, this course just gives you a taste. It allows you to see the overview of the ocean that is Sanskrit. It's just like a primer. It's just a beginning. And I think that's what a good teacher training course can do, is to invite the students into a solid, grounded foundation that's rooted. So then everybody's empowered to continue that lifelong practice and study in a way that is appropriate for each individual. So yeah, I'm very motivated to be participating to the program.
We're very happy that you can come and teach here at the center.